There are some things people do out of anger, some things they do out of greed, and then there are things people do because they can't stand watching someone else be happy. This is a story about what happens when jealousy goes too far. At the farthest edge of a small village, where the farmland disappeared into a stretch of wild trees, stood an abandoned temple. Nobody went there after dark. The temple had been broken for years. Its walls were cracked, its roof was partially collapsed, and an enormous old banyan tree had grown beside it. That night, rain was expected. The air was unusually heavy. The wind barely moved, and somewhere far away, dogs had been barking for hours. Behind the temple, a woman was sitting alone. Her name was Kavita. In front of her, a black cloth had been spread across the ground. On it were several strange objects: ashes, lemons, red thread, mustard oil, and a small bundle of hair. Kavita's eyes were closed. She whispered under her breath. Her face looked calm, but there was hatred in her expression. She picked up the strands of hair and slowly tied them together with black thread. Then she whispered, "The happiness that burns me with jealousy will be the same happiness that destroys you." She placed the tied thread inside a tiny pouch. Then she took a photograph and slowly dripped dark oil over it. At that exact moment, the small flame of an oil lamp inside the abandoned temple suddenly grew. It became unnaturally bright. Then, it went out. Kavita didn't move. She simply smiled. Dharmapal's family had always been respected in the village. He had two sons, Ajay and Vijay. From a young age, Ajay had been exceptionally intelligent. He worked hard, studied, and eventually moved to the city. At first, he struggled, but slowly his business began to grow. Then it exploded. Within a few years, Ajay had everything people in the village could only dream about: a large house, a car, employees, a successful business, and plenty of money. But despite all of it, Ajay never forgot his family. Every month, he sent money home. He paid for his parents' medicine. He repaired their house. He helped with farming expenses. And whenever Vijay's children needed something for school, Ajay paid for that too. Whenever he visited the village, the entire house became lively. "Look, Uncle brought toys again." Ajay's wife, Meera, was just as generous. She never treated Vijay or Kavita as less important. She bought clothes for their daughter Gudia, a watch for Vijay, saris and gifts for Kavita. She always made sure everyone received something. To most people, Ajay and Meera were the perfect couple. But Kavita didn't see it that way. She saw something else. She saw everything she didn't have. Whenever village women praised Ajay, Kavita would smile politely. "Ajay is such a good son. The whole family is lucky to have him. He takes care of everyone." Kavita would smile, but inside, she was burning. She began thinking that Dharmapal and Saroj loved Ajay more than Vijay. Whenever Ajay visited, people came running to their house. Everyone wanted to talk to him. Everyone wanted to hear about his life. And then one day, Ajay made an announcement that made his parents extremely happy. "Dad, I bought a new house in the city. It's big enough for everyone. Why don't you all come live with me?" Dharmapal was thrilled. Saroj was thrilled. Even Vijay was excited. But Kavita stayed silent. That night, she spoke to Vijay. "Why do we need to move to the city?" Vijay looked confused. "Because my brother wants all of us together." "He'll take care of us today," Kavita said. "And tomorrow?" "What do you mean?" "What if one day he starts reminding you that you're living in his house?" Vijay didn't answer. Kavita continued. "We have land here. We have our own home. The kids have their school. Why should we depend on him?" Slowly, Vijay began to believe her. And eventually, Dharmapal and Saroj moved to the city without them. After the move, Dharmapal called Vijay almost every day, and every call made Kavita more jealous. Vijay, you should see this house. Every room has air conditioning. Another day, Ajay took us to an amazing restaurant. Another, Meera made an incredible dinner tonight. Then came the worst part. We're going sightseeing tomorrow. Vijay would repeat everything to Kavita, and every time, her smile became colder. Even Meera's kindness began to look fake. Kavita started convincing herself that everyone was pretending to love her. At night, she would lie awake thinking, if happiness isn't meant for me, then why should they have it? That thought slowly became an obsession. And eventually, she decided to do something about it. There was an elderly woman living on the outskirts of the village. People whispered that she knew things normal people shouldn't know. They said she practiced dark rituals. Kavita began visiting her secretly. At first, she was terrified, but she kept going back. She learned strange rituals involving hair, ashes, lemons, photographs, and black thread. The old woman showed her things Kavita had never imagined doing, and the more Kavita learned, the less afraid she became. Jealousy had replaced her fear. Months later, Kavita suddenly told Vijay, "Call Ajay and Meera. They haven't visited us in a long time." Vijay was surprised, but he was happy. He thought his wife had finally changed. Ajay and Meera eventually came back to the village. The entire family was happy. Kavita smiled. She cooked for them. She served them. She acted like the perfect sister-in-law. But when everyone went to sleep, Kavita waited. Late that night, she quietly entered Ajay's room. Ajay was sleeping. She carefully took a few strands of his hair. Then she slipped a tiny pouch into his wallet. The next morning, she prepared a traditional dessert. She brought it to Ajay. "Brother, I made this especially for you." Ajay smiled. "Thanks, Kavita." He ate it. Kavita watched. Her face remained perfectly calm. But inside, she was waiting. Ajay returned to the city. For the first few days, nothing happened. Then things began changing. He became irritated. He argued with Meera over small things. He became impatient with his parents. He couldn't understand himself. One night, Meera gently said, "You've been under so much pressure lately. Maybe you should take a break." Ajay suddenly exploded. "You think I'm not working hard enough?" Meera froze. "Everyone only sees my mistakes." He stormed away. It was the first time his family had seen him behave like that. But things got much worse. Within weeks, Ajay's business started collapsing. Customers canceled contracts. Payments stopped coming in. Orders were returned. A major deal that was almost finalized suddenly fell apart. His business partners began losing faith in him. "Ajay, your decisions aren't what they used to be. You're making mistakes you've never made before. You're putting the entire company at risk." Ajay couldn't understand what was happening. His mind felt foggy. He couldn't concentrate. And then the nightmares started. One night, Ajay woke up suddenly. He looked toward the closet. A dark figure was standing there. He froze. The figure didn't move. Ajay reached for the light. Click. The room was empty. There was nobody there. He searched the room. Nothing. He went back to bed. But the feeling didn't disappear. Someone or something had been standing there, watching him. After that, Ajay began waking up almost every night. Sometimes he heard whispers. Sometimes he felt as though someone was standing behind him. And sometimes he heard his name being called. The business continued falling apart. Loan payments were missed. Employees quit. Banks started calling. One night, Mira asked, "What happens if we can't make the next payment?" Ajay stared at the floor. "What if we lose the house?" He didn't answer, because he was afraid that was exactly what might happen. Dharmapal and Saroj called Vijay. "We don't know what's happening to Ajay. He's losing money. He barely sleeps. Something is seriously wrong." Vijay became worried. But when he told Kavita, she smiled. Not a worried smile, a satisfied one. Inside, she thought, "It's working." Then she told Vijay, "I think someone has put something on Ajay." "What?" "Bring him back to the village." "Why?" "Maybe someone here can help him." Vijay believed her. He called Ajay. "Brother, come home for a few days. You need some peace." Ajay was exhausted. He agreed. Kavita had been waiting for this. Every night she went to the abandoned temple. She spread out the black cloth, placed Ajay's photograph on it, used the hair she had taken, tied everything together, and whispered her dark prayers. She wanted his success gone. She wanted his family broken. She wanted his happiness destroyed. And slowly, Ajay became weaker. His business collapsed even further. Then his health began failing. He developed a severe fever. Doctors ran test after test, but nothing made sense. The results looked normal. Yet Ajay kept getting worse. At night, he sometimes sat upright and stared at empty walls. One night, Mira woke up and heard him speaking in his sleep. "Don't call me." His voice trembled. "I didn't hurt you. Please, don't call me." Mira stared at him in fear. Siraj noticed something. Ajay always seemed to get worse after returning from the village. First his business, then his health. She called Vijay. "Tell me what's happening there." Vijay was confused. "What do you mean?" "Every time Ajay comes back from the village, something terrible happens." Vijay didn't know what to say. He told Kavita what his mother had said. For the first time, Kavita became frightened. She realized people were beginning to suspect her. She immediately called Saroj. "If you don't want to come to the village, then don't." Saroj frowned. "But don't accuse me and Vijay of doing something to Ajay." "I never accused you." "But you were talking about us." Saroj became silent. Then she remembered Kavita's mother, Hansika. Years earlier, people had told stories about her. They said Hansika knew dark rituals. They said she had manipulated people around her. And somehow, over time, land, businesses, and property had ended up under her control. But Hansika never looked dangerous. To outsiders, she was sweet, kind, polite, almost innocent. Saroj suddenly wondered, had she made the same mistake with her daughter? That night, Saroj made a decision. She would take Ajay to a spiritual teacher, but she wouldn't tell Vijay or Kavita. The next morning, she took Ajay toward the village. Deep inside an old forest stood another ancient temple. A man known as Swami Maharaj lived there. People came to him whenever they believed something unnatural was happening to their families. Saroj told him everything. "My son is getting worse. Doctors can't explain it. Please help him." Swami Maharaj listened quietly. Then he said, "Bring him to the village temple tomorrow morning." That night, Ajay had another nightmare. The same dark figure appeared. It leaned toward him and whispered, "You won't survive." Ajay suddenly woke up. His clothes were soaked with sweat. The next morning, Saroj brought Ajay to the temple. But the moment Ajay saw the entrance, he stopped. His face changed. "Mom," he stepped backward. "I don't want to go inside." Saroj stared at him. Ajay had prayed every day of his life. Yet now, he couldn't even enter the temple.
She immediately called Swami Maharaj. The old man came over. He placed sacred ash on Ajay's forehead. Suddenly, Ajay began trembling. His breathing became rapid. He collapsed. Everyone around them stepped back in fear. Swami Maharaj looked at him carefully. Then he said, "Something has been done to him." Saroj's eyes filled with tears. "And whoever did it," the Swami continued, "is someone very close to him." Saroj immediately thought of Kavita, but she kept silent. The next morning, a special religious ceremony was prepared. The temple was filled with incense. A ceremonial fire burned in front of Ajay. Prayers echoed through the room. At first, Ajay sat quietly. Then his breathing changed. He became restless. "Stop!" Everyone looked at him. "I don't want to be here!" He tried to stand. The people nearby held him back. He began fighting against them. Then he suddenly moved toward the ceremonial fire as if he wanted to destroy it. People shouted. The atmosphere inside the temple became chaotic. Swami Maharaj continued the prayers. Ajay screamed. Then he suddenly began crying. A few moments later, his entire body became rigid. Swami Maharaj placed sacred ash over him. Ajay let out one final scream and collapsed. The temple fell silent. Everyone waited. Slowly, Ajay's breathing became normal. His eyes opened. He looked at his mother. "Mom." Saroj immediately held him. Swami Maharaj quietly said, "The hold is broken." Then he added, "He is safe now." But before leaving, the Swami gave her one final warning. The person who caused this will eventually face the consequences. The following day, Saroj returned to the village with Ajay. As soon as they entered the house, she called Kavita. Kavita came outside, but when she saw Saroj's face, she knew. "Why?" Saroj's voice shook. "Why did you do this to Ajay?" Kavita immediately denied everything. "I didn't do anything." "You're lying. You're trying to blame me." Then Vijay stepped forward. His face was filled with anger. "Swear on Gudia's life." Kavita froze. "Tell me the truth." For several seconds, she said nothing. Then tears filled her eyes, and she finally broke. "I did it." Everyone went silent. "I couldn't stand it anymore." Everyone loved Ajay. Mom loved him. Dad loved him. The whole village praised him. Her voice cracked. "What about Vijay? What about my husband? Did nobody care about him?" She admitted everything. The hair, the pouch, the food, the photographs, the black thread, the rituals behind the temple. Everything. And then she admitted the worst part. She had secretly enjoyed watching Ajay lose everything. Vijay stared at her. He couldn't believe it. The woman he had trusted, the woman he had built his entire life with, had been destroying his brother's life out of jealousy.
Vijay's anger became uncontrollable. He ran toward the kitchen. He grabbed a knife. "You destroyed my brother's life." He moved toward Kavita. Kavita stepped backward in terror. But before anything happened, Ajay grabbed Vijay. "No." Vijay struggled. "Let me go." "No, Vijay." Ajay held him tightly. "Don't ruin your life because of what she did." Vijay finally broke down. He fell to the floor, crying. That day, the family was completely shattered. Vijay decided he could never live with Kavita again. He took Gudia and moved to the city with Ajay and Saroj. Kavita remained alone in the old village house. Nobody visited her. Nobody spoke to her. But something strange began happening. Every night, she heard footsteps outside. Sometimes she heard someone walking across the courtyard. Sometimes she saw a dark figure standing in the corner of her room. And sometimes she heard a whisper directly beside her ear. "Now it's your turn." Kavita became terrified. She stopped sleeping. She stopped leaving the house. And then, one morning, the villagers noticed a terrible smell coming from her home. They knocked. No answer. They called again. Nothing. Finally, they forced the door open. Inside, they found Kavita dead. Beside her was the same black cloth she had once used for her rituals. And sitting on top of it was a burned lemon. People in the village still tell the story. Some believe Kavita was destroyed by the very darkness she had invited into her life. Others believe fear and guilt consumed her. But everyone agrees on one thing. Jealousy can turn love into hatred. Greed can destroy families. And sometimes, the person you need to fear isn't the ghost hiding in the darkness. It's the person standing beside you, smiling like a friend, while secretly wishing for your downfall. Because darkness doesn't always enter through a haunted door. Sometimes, we invite it in ourselves. And once you open that door, you may never be able to close it again.